believe certain things about ourselves and reality. It doesn't want to push through reflecting on it and trying to understand what's going on and what it does to us and whether or not it's bringing us about into a better way of existence.
Christianity just stops at belief.
Oh yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Well, see, this was considered, this is called the irrational part of man.
Yeah.
So Christianity, what it did was took what the Greeks cast out and made it the saving grace, faith and belief.
Yeah.
And therefore, since all men can get into this, belief, therefore, can have universal appeal. This does not. This is an intellectual trip, understanding, reasoning.
Okay, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Now, there's a book called, I read a book called about Zoroaster,
Yeah.
comparing Zoroaster with Greek thought.
Oh yes, indeed.
And they claim
Very
that
close.
Zoroaster felt that when a person, prophet, in other words, when a person has a direct insight to things, then that goes beyond the reason.
Yeah.
That to him is
Yeah.
higher.
This is true here in Platonic world too.
Yeah.
The highest vision goes beyond reasoning. Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but that's the Republic,
Yeah.
which is a different kind of complex work. So I wanted to bring you to the fact that for Plato, there is still this is very different than where I think the way our culture is going, and the challenge we have, I think, is the very thing I mentioned, which is that we have to find a therapy of the soul. We have to find a way to cure man of the beliefs that are ruinous to them. And appealing to justice may do it so long as you understand justice, and really shouldn't even use that word because it's so different than what we mean by justice.
Well, our idea of justice is violence and the right people, like John Wayne.
John, what's his name?
John Wayne, if he does it, it's all right. If he considers violence for good, then it's okay.
Oh, it's so hypocritical.
He beats up on the bad guys.
Yeah.
John Wayne beats up on the bad guys because he's more violent than they are.
Yeah, well, we teach violence in our images, and we punish people for acting out their violence.
Yeah.
What did you do? Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly what my culture told me to do.
Yeah.
Just so hypocritical.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, well, this is our culture. That's
and all
why.
the movies today most of them seem to, all these action movies are based on that idea. Violence overcoming violence.
Yeah, you see, what we don't have are movies for this.
No, that doesn't.
Or even to show this Homerically.
Yeah.
That would be really great.
Well,
But we don't do that. Or there's no reason why we can't.
no.
But I don't think they'll make a buck out of it, so I think they hold back. Would you agree somehow our culture is influenced by mine?
Well,
A little bit.
A little bit. I mean, I can risk that opinion.
Just
A little bit, yeah.
It's influenced by what they think will sell at the box office.
That's all.
Well, but you know, there are a lot of experimental things going on, and let's hope it's a change. And,
Yeah. That's true.
and we're all interested in fighting and making a difference. So, thank you. I wanted to bring this in. And
There's a movie out that I'd like you to recommend.
please,
It's called The Pig, I think. Or
the what?
Pig.
P-I-G?
Yeah, it's about a pig. And some people have recommended that as the best movie of the year.
P-I-G. You're not joking.
P-I-G, pig. Yeah.
And it's literally a story about a pig.
Yeah, it's literally a story about a pig.
About a literal pig.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
And all
I
can
hope they
say-
give the pig a Oscar.
They might give the movie an Oscar.
Is it a cartoon or?
It's kind of a combination. It's a
Animation.
pig that talks. So they have puppeteers that work it, but there's a pig that believes it's a sheep herd dog.
Now,
Did we answer the question about the incurables? I missed that.
well, I don't know what you missed.
Well,
I mean, if you missed it, how do you know you missed it? I mean, if you missed it, how do you know you missed it?
as we were talking about it, and I don't recall the conclusion.
I don't think we came
Oh,
to
was About that one word also.
Yeah. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah, if your whole thesis has to depend upon one word. It's weird.
But he said he was going to go here to answer that. I thought that question because you said you didn't want to end up just resting on one word. So somehow you got into this discussion, and that was, I thought, to answer the question as related to the incurables. I thought that's what you did.
No. The conclusion to that was that in reading any text, if a whole interpretation depends upon one word set in an ambiguous phrase or sentence, it's best not to rest a whole thesis on that one word
Right.
or that phrase. And therefore, we should find that same idea expressed somewhere else in sufficient clarity before you assign it to the author of the work as a principal idea of his. Right?
So did
Caution.
So did we do that?
I don't know. Do what?
Find it somewhere else in the text to a sufficient degree that you could attribute to Plato or not?
Well, I know one thing. It's only a couple of pages, and you'll read it.
Oh yeah, I will.
Yeah, see, he still says, he still has the idea for forever.
Yeah.
But again, there's a whole discussion about that use, and if you want the reference to it, Olympiodorus goes at it in great length. But to go over it if you want, there are enough references to suggest in this work that there is a bottomless pit in Tartarus where these people incurably are sent, no doubt. Whether it's eternal punishment or not, there's several places where that's open to question. Because you also have in Plato the idea of periods, long periods,
Yeah.
like we went through the other day. But I would say there's room for both views.
What about Proclus and Plotinus? Did they ever hold the view that there's some souls that are so bad to the point where...
No.
Yeah,
No.
I didn't think they would. They're more...
No.
It's more sublime.
No.
That we all get a chance.
No, this is...
This is strictly...
No. And you see, this doesn't fit this. This is one of the major problem I wanted to bring up. That if there is this... See, the reason why there's room, I think, to argue in terms of the text itself, the greater part of it is stressing this point and this point. That if punishment in no respect benefits the individual, and it doesn't bring him about into a better condition, then it's in vain. And that means that in the nature of the universe there's something in vain and therefore has no purpose, and yet it's costing fantastic suffering for the individuals. And therefore, if the soul is always punished forever, it never enjoys a good, then you know what? She's always in vice, and therefore the condition of someone doing this terrible deed means they are then consigned to a condition where they're always in vice, which is unjust. Right? Which is unjust. And that would make the Creator unjust.
Right.
And it would be at odds with the
that
idea
would be
that
at
the
odds.
cosmos is ordered.
Yeah,
that it's
yeah,
beautiful, that
yeah.
it's
So
good.
that would be at odds with the...
So it has that conflict.
Yeah.
And the
So that would be
conflict...
at odds with Plato's original premise that everything is good and
Right.
Yeah.
it turns back to the good.
Yeah. So that's the problem. I wanted to share it with you. And it's there. We can argue how strong it is by doing what I did and perhaps going back over it once more. But nonetheless, one part of it is very clear, and that is when he's talking about it outside of the myth, there's no doubt about his position. The